Am I the asshole for making my daughter share her presents with my stepdaughter? I, 40 female, was a single mother to my daughter, Amy, 15 female. I came out 3 years ago and married my wife Jenna, 42 female, last year. She has a daughter, Nora, 13 female. We all live together as I have full custody of my daughter. It was kind of hard for her to adjust to having a second mom, but they got along well. The girls have their birthdays very close, only 2 days apart, so we decided to have a joint birthday party for both of them. Since Nora had a hard time making new friends, they moved in with us and she's very shy. Most of my family lives out of the country, so the gifts were sent a week early. It was a huge bag, with at least 20 gifts. The party was nice and we opened the bag at night once everyone left. Jenna handed out the presents as she took them out. After 12 gifts in a row just for Amy, I checked the bag and froze to see that there was only one gift for Nora, from my parents. She pretended it wasn't a big deal, but as she opened the present I saw her eyes drop. It was a $15 tumbler from Walmart. Not to sound ungrateful, but Amy's gifts were much more expensive. Lots of gift cards over $100, a new phone, limited edition Funkos, designer clothes and lots of cards wishing her a happy birthday. Needless to say, I blew up the family chat, calling out my parents, siblings, and extended family who sent gifts for not considering Nora and my parents for the cheap gift. No one took me seriously since. It's not our duty to give gifts to someone else's kid, and Amy deserved them, since I didn't even throw her own birthday party, emphasizing that Jenna and Nora are my problem, not theirs. Nora was clearly hurt, since it's not the first time my family has left her out. At night, I asked Amy to share some of the gifts with her stepsister. Not all of them, just a couple of gift cards and some of the new clothes. Amy refused. This surprised me, since she never had a problem with sharing, and even though she and Nora are not BFFs, they usually get along. After asking why, Amy started crying, saying that she never wanted a joint birthday party, and that I force her to share everything with Nora. They share a room for space and I make sure they're both invited to the same parties and sleepovers, so that Nora won't be left out. If they don't invite both of them, then either of them goes. Amy stated that she at least wanted her own gifts to be hers alone. I scolded her for being selfish with her stepsister, grounded her and took a couple of the presents to give to Nora. She turned them down because she didn't want problems with Amy and it felt like pity. Since then, Amy has been cold to all of us. I just wanted my 2 girls to be closer with the joint party and have the same things. Am I the asshole? Clarification. Jenna and I bought gifts for the girls, their own tablets, as well as their friends. Nora also received gifts from her extended family, but they sent for Amy as well. You are the asshole. You are basically asking your daughter to share her complete identity with Nora. Her room, her stuff, her family, her friends, her birthday party, the parties she goes to, sleepovers. Is there anything really hers? This can't be good for her development. She needs to be her own person. You are the asshole, absolutely. You're trying to force this one big happy family dynamic. You expect your family to jump on board pretty quickly and just accept and treat Nora like your own, and they haven't. You don't solve that by stealing your daughter's presents from her family and sharing them with Nora. That's only going to build resentment between them. You've found who you are and accepted it and created a new life, good for you. But in the process you've robbed your daughter of her own space, her own celebrations, her own friendships and her own gifts. Then you punish her for not being accepting of it. That's just crappy on multiple levels. Am I the asshole for telling my stepdad it's ridiculous he thinks he became my dad when he married my mom? I was 15 when I met my stepdad. He met my mom 4 years after my dad died, leaving mom with me and my 3 younger siblings to raise. They were all little and hardly remembered dad and found it easier to go from him being Luke to dad over time. To me he was always Luke. I was older meeting him, almost out of the house when he and my mom got married, and I remember dad really well. I'm not saying he was a bad guy, or he did nothing, but I was working by the time he moved in and I had a busy life, so there wasn't a lot of parenting from him because when I needed something I went to my mom. I also didn't go to college, so there was no paying for that. I only add this because I know how these posts go. I think he's okay. I think he was what my mom and siblings needed. But it bothers him that I never needed him and I pretty much never wanted him in the same capacity of my siblings. I thought he was great for my mom, but he wasn't someone I would seek out for life advice, or a shoulder to cry on, and I will go as far as saying he's not my current father figure. That would go to my grandpa, who I have known the longest and have turned to in times of trouble, and I have looked up to both as an individual but also as a father, grandfather, husband to others. I got engaged recently and Luke and I started fighting a lot. He assumed he would be walking me down the aisle and doing a father-daughter dance with me. I let him know that he was not the person I was considering asking, if I did it at all. Then he turns it into he's the most logical choice. I said Mom would be actually. He pointed out it's customary for the father of the bride to do those things. And I pointed out my dad was dead, and if we were going down that line, my grandfather would be the obvious pick for me. He told me he's been my dad for 9 years now. I was 16 when they got married. I said he didn't become my dad because he married my mom, which he argued that he did. I told him it was ridiculous to think that because I was 16 years old. I had memories of my dad and was hardly around him during that time when compared to other members of the family. I told him I had always appreciated him for what he did for Mom and my siblings, but he needed to get over the fact I didn't need him like my siblings did. He called me an asshole and said I needed to accept that he is my father whether I like it or not. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. 1. It's your wedding, you choose who gets to walk you down the aisle. 2. He shouldn't be trying to erase your dad from the picture. 3. I think you did the right thing by saying you appreciate what he did for your mom and siblings, but that wasn't needed for you. He should have accepted that. I was going to say no assholes here, but I'll say not the asshole after he straight up called you an asshole and said you needed to accept that he's your dad. WTF? No, you've made it clear that it's not how you feel and it's not how you see him. I hope you and your mom have a great dance. Am I the asshole for insisting my niece is co-flower girl with my fiancé's niece? My fiancé and I are planning our wedding. She comes from a large family. She has 5 sisters, most of them have kids. 4 of her sisters are her bridesmaids, one is serving as maid of honor. I come from a smaller family. Just my parents, my sister and my niece, Bryn. Bryn is 3 years old and pretty much my best pal. I'm her godfather, I love her to bits. I didn't care when my fiancé didn't choose my sister to be a bridesmaid, and likewise my sister was cool with it. I did feel some sort of way because I have all 4 of my fiancé's brother-in-laws in my wedding party, at fiancé's request. But ultimately, it's her side of the party, she can do what she wants. Then it came time to pick the younger roles in the wedding. Her older nephews are junior groomsmen, the younger is the ring-bearer. She only has one niece, Aubrey, who's 4. My fiancé wants her to be the flower girl. I said that's fine, but I also want Bryn to be one. They can walk down the aisle together, it'd be super cute. Bryn loves playing with Aubrey, so they get along. My fiancé says she wants our wedding to be traditional, so there can only be one flower girl. I suggested Bryn could hold a sign or something while Aubrey threw flowers. My fiancé said no, she can sit with my sister and parents. At this point, I insisted and said Bryn would be flower girl. I texted my sister and asked, she agreed. My fiancé got pissed and I said it's my day too. Bryn means a great deal to me and she'll be in the wedding. My fiancé and Aubrey's mom are mad at me, saying I'm stealing Aubrey's spotlight. Am I the asshole? Update. Okay, wow. Did not expect this to blow up the way it did. Thank you to everyone who reached out. This morning, my fiancé and I sat down to talk about the wedding in general. I brought up Bryn and Aubrey. My fiancé just kept parroting, it's tradition, let Aubrey have the spotlight. She shot down compromise after compromise. Aubrey walks first, Bryn blows bubbles or holds a sign, etc. Finally, my fiancé was honest. She doesn't want Bryn in our wedding because Bryn has Down syndrome. She said everyone will be looking at her, taking pity, etc. Turns out it wasn't about a spotlight on Aubrey, but my fucking fiancé. I told her to fuck herself, called her ableist and said don't worry, there won't be a spotlight to steal anymore because there's no wedding. I've left our apartment, staying at my sister's and playing with Bryn. My phone has been blowing up with texts and calls from my fiancé. Magically she's ready to compromise now. I need time but am likely done. Y'all were right. Info. Are you two getting premarital counseling to do a general inventory on how you two agree or disagree on other issues? Because I have a sense that if you two did get such counseling, there would be a lot more issues uncovered. Not the asshole. Just an observation, your fiancé sees this as her wedding, not our wedding. Honestly, if it were me, and I'm maybe just way too petty, I would tell her that either Bryn is in as co-flower girl, or none of your fiancé's brothers-in-law are groomsmen, Just replace them with friends or coworkers. But again, just an observation, if this is your fiancé's reaction, good luck, buddy. Am I the asshole for getting a bartender fired for not serving a pregnant woman? I, 23, F. Bartend on the weekends for some side cash. A few weeks ago, a woman came into our bar. She looked probably about 7/8 of a month. For context, I'm one of the head bartenders. I was minding my own business training a new hire around 4 or 5 p.m. One of the other bartenders, Annie, 19F, came up to me to talk about a ridiculous customer she had. That customer being the pregnant woman. She wanted a glass of red wine, and Annie refused to serve her and suggested we asked her to leave. I looked at her like she had two heads. Even if someone looks pregnant, you still have to serve them, or that can be a discrimination lawsuit waiting to happen. As much as I didn't like it, I got her the glass of wine and minded my 2 cents. I went back to training our new hire when Annie saw the woman with glass of wine. She asked if we could talk in the back, and of course I obliged. She went on a rant how I was a baby killer, I was a terrible person, etc. At this point the other staff members saw this going on, and most minded their business, and a few of the girls told her to cut it out. I told her whether we like it or not, someone needed to serve the woman. I sure as hell wasn't putting my ass on the line for a lawsuit over a glass of wine. Plus, I didn't know the woman's medical history, and it sure as hell wasn't any of my business. I left it at that. Over the next 2 weeks Annie went on a tirade about how I was a terrible person, was going to hell, was a baby killer, etc. Eventually I got fed up and reported her to the GM. This situation along with her frequent call-offs and bad attitude got her fired. I feel bad, but I had a job to do, and I feel like her rants were unnecessary. Am I the asshole? Info. I used to serve in NY, but currently am in PA. Not the asshole. She may not even be pregnant. Some women have bloating in the belly that makes them look pregnant. Also, doctors say that 1 glass of wine a week is permitted for pregnant women, so if she was pregnant there is really nothing wrong with her ordering that glass of wine, and the other girl completely overreacted. It would not kill the baby at all, especially since doctors say that it is okay to have wine. It wasn't hard alcohol and it wasn't multiple drinks. Her reaction to you was completely over the top. Not the asshole. I miscarried and the first thing I did was have a drink. You don't know her situation. Pregnant women are allowed to have 1 glass of wine. Quotations because the research is in and out and I don't support it, but still it's a thing. Not worth your job for someone else deciding what to do with their body.